Okay, I hope this is clear enough to see. Excuse my voice, I've been sick with the kids all week. But this is the Excel sheet. I'll post the link to it. It's in a public file. So what you will change on here, you take your cursor and you can come over here and click where name is, and it goes into that. You can change your child's name here just by typing it in and hitting enter. And then on this, the only boxes that you need to change are their data, date of birth, their name and their date of birth. So I'll put here Ella's date of birth, just so that it's on there if you use it at the doctor. I usually print this off and take it with me so that I don't have to talk about it. I just hand it to them. And then the only thing that you need to put in here is the height and the weight. I don't remember what Ella is for sure, but I think she will say 37 pounds. And then for height, I don't know, like 45 inches. I can't remember. And you'll see that when you change that, it automatically changes everything else. So right here is calories goal per centimeter. That's for the height. And this is per kilograms, which is the weight. And you have kilograms and centimeters up here. This is protein intake based on 1 gram per kilogram. Fiber, this one doesn't change on its own. You can just click on that 6 and delete it. I put it in there for people who want to use it, but I honestly don't. Fluid intake right here is calculated at 110 milliliters per kilogram. And then this is fat based on height or kilograms. So it's a range. All this is guidelines. It's not a set thing. And then also what I added to this spreadsheet down at the bottom here, you can take it or leave it, but it is dosages that are based on weight for medications. So this is for the oral albuterol, which is 0.25 milliliters per kilogram in a day. And this tells you what the daily total would be and then how it can split it up. Most people do it 3 times a day, so that would be the 4.2 milliliters. My kids take it twice a day, and they've never had an issue with heart rate. So I give her 6.3 twice a day. For the carnitine, that's 100 milligrams per kilogram in a day. So that 8.4 milliliters I add to her feeding mix. And if it's an oral fed kid who doesn't have a tubie, I think that the dose is split up twice a day. And then this here is Zantac. This is the max dose. It's 10 milligrams per kilogram in a day. So that one is on here. Some kids are on less if they don't need quite as much. So when you're looking through here, there's things that can be changed to your child. For example, Ella is almost 6, so I don't have to give her 1 grams per kilogram. I give her more like 0.8. And those are ranges that we'll have to go over. So I can change this to calculate it for me. She's 16.82 kilograms. If I go here, this is just changing what my label says so that I know. I can click on there and delete it and put 0.8 per kilogram. And then right here, if you click on this box, you'll see that up here is the formula. That's how that is automatically calculated every time. It says that in this box equals D4 times 1. So when you're looking at that, D4, this is column D, and it's row 4. So it's taking this value, which is the kilograms, timesing it by 1, and that's what gives us the grams per kilogram. So on this one, I don't want it to be times by 1. I want it to be by 0.8. So I'll click in there. I'm just going to delete that 1 and put in 0.8 and hit enter. And now you'll see that this protein level right here is calculated per her kilograms, but it's 13.5 now because I wanted it on the 0.8 per kilogram. Same can be done for the calories. This is a range because not every kid is the same. Most of the time I would say you pick a number somewhere in that range and then just kind of see if your child isn't gaining weight well, you can be on the higher end. If they're gaining weight too fast, you can go down to the lower end. Both of my kids need to be on the higher end of it. So that's what I do. Now fluid intake on here, it's calculated at the 110 milliliters per kilogram. Milliliters and cc's are the same thing, and there are 30 milliliters or cc's in an ounce. So for this one, let's say Ella doesn't a younger kid might need 125 milliliters per kilogram. Ella's older, maybe she only needs 90. So in here I can click, this is just my label. I can come over here and delete that 110 to tell myself that this is going to be calculated at 90. So this is changed. And then over here, you'll see I click in this box, and here's another one of those formulas. Now this one says that this box equals, right here, D4, which is column D, line 4, that's kilograms number, times 110. So I'm going to change that now and make it 90. Enter. So now you'll see that it changed those milliliters to 1500-ish. This here is changed. If you click in this box, it's nothing you'd have to change, but just to kind of, explain, it says on here equals L4 divided by 30. So that means L4, which is this box, is divided by 30 because there's 30 cc's in 1 ounce. So that's just so you can look at it differently and say, yeah, it's 1500 milliliters, but it's 50.5 ounces. And that is a goal. Kids don't always take all of that in, especially oral eaters. And in that case, your minimum would be at least double diluting per the guidelines on the packages of formula. And then fat intake, this here is based on 10%. 10% is a good goal. Some kids don't tolerate that much, and you'll see symptoms, and those are on the website. It's some symptoms to watch for, but that's a range as well. So then what I do after that is I look at this sheet 1 and I write down my goals. For this is calorie goals. I have 914 to 1177. Protein is 13.5. Fluids 1500 or 50.5 ounces, and then fat 10.2 to 13.1. So if you look down at the bottom here, this is where you get all of your totals and what you're aiming for. If you go down here and you click on sheet 2, this is where you enter your kids' stuff so you can see what they're actually getting. The only thing you change on here is the green stuff. Everything else you leave alone. Down at the bottom here, these are just some of the commonly used things that I put them on here. For example, Tolerex, it gives the calories, protein, carbs, and fat on here. That's just typed in. You can change these and put the things that you use the most often on here so that when you go to calculate a new amount, you're not having to search for it online or look at the back of your container. It's already on here. These ones here, the first set is for 8 ounces, and then I have it broken down for 1 ounce. So if you're only giving 2 ounces of rice milk, well, 1 ounce is 15 calories, so you times it by 2, and in that box you would add 30 calories. This is all done by hand because you need to add in. But what I like to do is, see right here it says daily totals goals from sheet 1. So I like to put it in there so that I don't have to flip back and forth. So on here I know that for fluid volume it was about 1500 that I wanted. For calories, between 914 and 1177, I'm just going to put 1,000. For proteins, 13.5. And for fats, I had 10.2 to 13.1. I just usually write that range down in here so I can see, and then I see what it comes up with based on what my ingredients are. So as you can see, I just put all those things in here just so I can look at them. And then up here is where you type things in. So we'll go, just so you can kind of see how they add up. Actually, I'm going to grab one of Grayson's. Just so I can see this without flipping back and forth on my screen here. Okay, so let's just go with Tolerex. So let's say I want to type in 1 pack of Tolerex. There's no fluid volume of that, but calories of that would be 300. Protein would be 6.2. Carbs would be 68. and fat would be 0.6. So you can see now that this yellow line has changed. It is adding up everything that is in these rows of ingredients. So now it's telling me this is how many I have. You'll also notice that this row changes. This tells you the percentage of calories in the mix. So as of right now, this is calculating and say 22.7% of the calories that we have so far are made up from carbs. 1.8% are made up of fats. So these are ones you can watch, and this would be the one you watch for the 10% as you add everything in. Let's see here. Let's just say like hemp milk. Sorry, it's kind of hard to type around this. Hemp milk. So let's just say you would use 4 ounces. So I like to type it in here so that I know. Fluid volume, 4 ounces is 120 milliliters. Remember, there are 30 milliliters or cc's in 1 ounce, so 4 times 30 is 120. And you see it changed it down here and said this is the cc's, and it also changed it and tells you that you have 4 ounces in there so far. So then I want to add the calories in 4 ounces of hemp milk. Let's see here, which would be 40. And the protein is 1. And the carbs would be 0.5. And the fats would be 4. Hemp milk is a nice fat alternative. Most kids have been tolerating that well. So there's hemp milk, let's say Pedialyte, which doesn't really, well, let's not do that one since it doesn't really have anything of value. Let's do Gerber, Pear, baby food, which it would be a stage 2 is a 4 ounce jar. So I type in that. And that's also 4 ounces, which is 120 milliliters. The calories in that 4 ounces are, depending on the brand, 70 or 80 usually. Protein, the only proteins you need to count in this are from the formulas, Tolerex or Vivanex or Neocate, any of those, breast milk, and hemp milk. The proteins in the foods and the juices do not need to be counted towards this because that's not essential proteins. And then the carbs in this is 17. No fat. So you can see again, it changed everything over. So you can do this to kind of assess what diet your kid is on right now and kind of compare to what it is now versus the suggested amounts. And it just changes everything over for you. So I'm going to go to, so this is how you use this one. You can add in if this is not enough room for you. If you come over here, if you hit the right click button, you'll see this and it comes up and it says insert. And you can add one in. Just make sure that you keep things within the green area or it will mess up these formulas down here to make everything else change. So that is that. I think I explained all of that. So I'm going to go over to Grayson's just so you can, or Ella's, whoever I see first, just so you can kind of see what I've got. I do everything on my computer on Dropbox, and then on my iPhone I have downloaded the app Documents to Go, and I can pull up any of these files and I can change them on my computer, or I can change them on my iPhone, and it updates them in every area. Let's see. Okay, so this is Grayson's here. So sheet 1 here. And I don't have the green boxes on mine because I did that for everyone else's benefit, but here it has his weight and his height, his date of birth, and when I updated his last, I have another newer one, but I guess this is that one I saved. So it has the calorie goals and all that stuff on here already. You can see that's all in here. And then on the sheet 2 is where I have all of his totals of his ingredients. So this is what Grayson gets. Fluid volume, like here you could see I was shooting for off of the first page 1140 and I'm at 1170, which is 39 ounces. He actually gets more now. This one's a little old. his calories, he's a little up because he needed to be. So I increased a little bit based on what I put in. It doesn't have to be exactly what it says. It's just a range or suggestion. Proteins here, it had suggested at this point 10.7. He was 10.5 from the hemp milk and the Tolerex. And then the fats here, he's at 8.7%. So right around that 10% mark is good. Sometimes it's a little lower. Sometimes it's a little higher depending on your ingredients. But that is about it. If you have any questions, let me know. Like I said, I'm going to post the link to that shared document, and you can go ahead and start adding things in and let me know if you have any questions.